Hello everyone, welcome to the World in 10 Minutes video series. When humans encounter life phenomena that are completely beyond comprehension, an instinctive fear often arises. This emotion reflects our innate sense of awe and reverence for the unknown. It is this very reverence that has directly influenced the creation of various myths and folklore. Even in today's technologically advanced era, many mysteries of life that have puzzled humanity have been unraveled. However, numerous strange stories that have baffled people since ancient times remain unexplored, awaiting further discovery and investigation. Today, I want to share with you a theme from Brazilian mythology and folklore, one of its most famous creatures, the vampire-like monster Capelobo. The legend of Capelobo is widely known in Maranhão and Pará states of Brazil. It is typically described as a large semi-humanoid creature. According to Brazilian historians and folklorists like Luiz Câmara Cascudo, the name Capelobo originates from local indigenous languages, combining Cape, broken bone, and the Portuguese word lobo, wolf. Thus, the name can be loosely translated as broken bone wolf. This creature is covered in thick, dense fur. Its head is often described as resembling that of an anteater or some other animal with a long snout. Its legs have four rounded ends, leaving footprints that look like flat-bottomed marks. Its forelimbs are equipped with sharp claws ideal for hunting. In some regional variations, it is described as a four-legged creature resembling a grotesque anteater or dog, exuding a foul stench. The Capelobo is said to be highly ferocious, roaming the depths of the rainforest at night. It is known to prey on newborn puppies and kittens, and it is insatiable, sometimes even attacking humans. Legends claim that it uses its hook-shaped nose to suck the blood and brains of its victims. People fear it not only for its violent nature, but also for its near invincibility. Only experienced hunters can defeat it by precisely shooting an arrow into its soft navel. Although the Capelobo legend is quite detailed and exists in multiple versions across different regions, its first documented appearance in literature was in the early 20th century. In the 1920s, Brazilian geologist and chemist Silvio Abreu traveled to Maranhão to study the region's geography and resources. He compiled his findings into a book called Land of Babaçu Trees. In the book, he wrote, "Locals believe that in the forests of Maranhão, particularly in the Pidare region, lives a fierce creature called Capelobo. They are a variant of werewolves and are now rare. But many indigenous people claim to have heard its piercing screams and seen its tracks. One Canela villager mentioned that his son-in-law heard its cry and found footprints in the sandy soil while hunting. Another indigenous man claimed to have seen the Capelobo while walking through the Pindare forest. He described a creature with a human-like body, entirely covered in long fur, a head resembling a giant anteater, and legs shaped like bottle bottoms. The man recounted his harrowing encounter. He was startled by a sharp cry while searching for prey. With nowhere to hide, he crouched between some babaçu trees. The creature wandered aimlessly through the forest, making terrifying cries, but fortunately did not notice him. Hours later, he returned to his village and described the beast to others. According to indigenous accounts, when the Capelobo encounters a human, it wraps them, pierces their skull, and sucks out their brain through its long snout. Its navel, hidden beneath thick fur, is its only weak point. However, even skilled hunters fear shooting at it because its vulnerability is so well protected. In 1947, the aforementioned Luiz Câmara Cascudo documented the Capelobo in his work on Brazilian myths, emphasizing its prominence in the Pará River basin, particularly near the Xingu River. He noted that the legend of the Capelobo is incredibly widespread. Almost all locals are familiar with it and are wary of his cunning. Even today, stories of the Capelobo continue to captivate and terrify, embodying the rich folklore of Brazil. Sometimes, Capelobo is described as a humanoid creature, but more often, it is depicted as a beast resembling a giant anteater, larger and faster than usual. It has long black fur and a round head with a snout that resembles those of a pig or dog. One researcher who lived in the Pere River basin for 12 years referred to Capelobo as the indigenous werewolf. According to indigenous people living in the single river basin, the creature is believed to be the reincarnation of elderly indigenous individuals. When these people grow so old that they lose their vitality, they transform into Capelobo as a way to continue their existence. This transformation is seen as a deliberate and spontaneous change. In 2023, Brazilian ecologist Fabio Dario published an article in the World Natural Science Journal titled Unusual Entities in Amazonian Indigenous Culture, documenting a series of accounts about Capelobo. On January the 5th, 2019, a 74-year-old woman from the village of Pecucamber claimed that Capelobo is the reincarnation of old indigenous people. She shared a story passed down from her grandmother, who once returned home around 4 a.m., shouting, "Capelobo, Capelobo." She claimed to have seen the creature near Beachy Bridge. Capelobo screamed and ran towards the river. Her grandmother described the creature leaving tracks shaped like the bottom of a bottle wherever it went. Another account involves a couple walking along a path who heard Capelobo's sharp scream. The husband responded instinctively to the sound, but the wife quickly stopped him, recognizing it as Capelobo. They hid behind a rubber tree and waited, but nothing appeared, so they returned to the path. Shortly after, they saw a humanoid figure walking ahead, covered in fur so long that it obscured its lower body. Frightened, they hid in the forest again. The creature screamed once more, entered the woods, and disappeared. They later noticed a pungent, suffocating smell lingering in the area, which caused them to fall ill for some time. A woman from the village of La Carica also recounted that Capelobo resides on mountaintops. She claimed it was once an old indigenous man whose cries resembled those of a horse. According to her, Capelobo has claws that can reject and extend and prey on humans. Villagers have seen its footprints and heard its chilling screams. Another villager from the same village described a similar story about an old indigenous man who entered the forest alone and never returned. He reported started eating raw meat and eventually transformed into a bloodthirsty beast. Between 1994 and 2001, Brazilian ornithologist David Oren led several expeditions into the Amazon rainforest in search of a different mysterious creature known as the mapingari. In his work on the mapingari, he referenced Capelobo, noting that over the years, he collected reports from 7 hunters who claimed to have killed the creature. Although the descriptions varied slightly, many accounts described it as a standing, humanoid figure about 2 meters tall, exuding a foul odor. It was often covered in coarse fur that could be red, black, or brown, with a mouth resembling that of a donkey or horse. The creature was capable of walking on both 2 or 4 legs, but was not very agile when standing upright. Its footprints were round and it emitted loud roars. David Oren theorized that many of these sightings, including those of Capelobo and Mapingari, could be rooted in the existence of a medium-sized land-dwelling sloth, an extinct species known as Xenotherans. These creatures appeared around 35 million years ago during the late Eocene and went extinct approximately 12,000 years ago during the Pleistocene extinction event, which wiped out most large mammals. These ground-dwelling species varied in size, with smaller ones being the size of modern sloths and larger ones reaching up to 6 meters in length and weighing up to 5 tons, comparable to elephants. Modern studies suggest that diseases and overhunting by humans were the primary reasons for their extinction. In his article, Oren argued that the sparse population of South America and the unique geography of the region might have contributed to the persistence of these legends. Some medium and small-sized ground sloths may have survived due to the inaccessible regions of the Amazon rainforest, which provided a safe haven for their reproduction. However, this theory has its challenges. Ground sloths were herbivorous animals, while some scholars suggest they might have been omnivorous. The skeletal structure revealed by fossil analysis indicates they were not built for running. Instead, they relied on other strategies to fend off predators. Although ground sloths might have been more agile than modern sloths and possibly even capable of some tree climbing, their speed was not significantly faster than what we know about today's sloths. Thus, the idea of such creatures attacking humans seems implausible. Even their ability to hunt small mammals like cats and dogs is questionable. As for their supposed blood-sucking and brain-eating behaviors, these traits are even more dubious. In cryptozoological studies, Capelobo lacks strong individual identity. American cryptozoologist George Eberhardt, in his 2002 Guide to Cryptozoology, defined Capelobo as a variant of Mapingari, describing it as a regional variation of the same creature. The name Capelobo in Portuguese translates to wolf's cape, which coincidentally aligns with how South American folklorist Dale Darren used the term wolfskin to refer to mystical creatures of South America. In a 1923 letter to German anthropologist Robert Nates, Dr. Luis Gamera Cascudo suggested that Capelobo might be a variation of werewolf myths originating from Brazil's complex mythological framework. He proposed that it was a creation of the Mameluco people, portraying a mystical, invulnerable, a fast-moving predator that has long hunted indigenous people and brave hunters. By 1947, Cascudo maintained this opinion, emphasizing that indigenous accounts consistently describe Capelobo as a killing machine, never forming bonds with humans or engaging in hunting, fishing, or forestry like other creatures. It exists solely to hunt and kill, making it a legendary predator that remains confined to the forests of northern Brazil. However, as we examine the records, it becomes apparent that documented sightings of Capelobo are extremely rare. Most accounts come from oral traditions of local indigenous communities. Scholars often categorize Capelobo as a variant of other cryptids, such as the aforementioned Mapingari or werewolf. In fact, many traits attributed to Capelobo, like its roaring, round footprints, or semi-humanoid appearance, are commonly found in other cryptid stories. For example, another legend from the Amazon rainforest describes a creature called the Pizarro. It is said to be a tall, long-haired humanoid with a single horn. Its footprints are round and it emits hypnotic screams. However, its facial features are less distinct, differing from Capelobo's signature long snout. Some might argue that Capelobo is merely a misinterpretation of known animals like anteaters or tapirs. This is one of the most popular modern theories about Capelobo, supported by bloggers and media outlets. However, in Professor Abro's book Land of Babasu Trees, he reported interviews with indigenous people comparing the names of various animals in their knowledge. He found that while the locals were familiar with many wild animals, including anteaters and jaguars, their descriptions of Capelobo stood out as something entirely unique and inexplicable. Personally, I believe the possibility of Capelobo's existence cannot be entirely dismissed. The legends surrounding it are undoubtedly exaggerated, which raises skepticism. For instance, most sightings are second or third hand accounts, leaving us with a lack of direct eyewitness reports. This scarcity of detailed descriptions likely prompted scholars to associate Capelobo with other unknown creatures. Furthermore, much of the online imagery and information depicts Capelobo as a humanoid anteater, likely to capture public attention. Despite this, I think Capelobo could exist because experienced hunters who have spent their lives in the forest are unlikely to describe a dangerous creature without reason. I found no evidence of religious or animal worship associated with Capelobo. Its exaggerated traits may result from the oral tradition of storytelling, but it's possible the hunters truly encountered something beyond their understanding. Given the vastness of Brazil's untouched rainforests, there are undoubtedly many undiscovered species still living in those areas. After all, the unknown always surpasses the known, which is the true charm of UMA, unidentified mysterious animals. That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching.